Hello, I'm Mihai Campan, and I'm a member of the Cluj Bar Association, and I come across contracts every day. Before I start pitching my presentation, I want you to know two things about me. The first one is that I'm the member of the Cluj Bar Association. I deal with simple or complicated contracts every day. And the second one is that since kindergarten, my nickname was Mike. So I want to do this in a more informal way in order for the information to get to you easier. So hello, I'm Mike, and I'm here to present you about smart contracts. And I want to make a confession. I don't know anything about smart contracts. Why do I say that? Because there are no rules in smart contracts. And you will see here that the things differ in many, many ways from the legal contracts. So, I think that everybody here is passionate about blockchain or works on blockchain, so I wanted to present you this in the most logical way possible in order for you to understand if there will ever be authenticity without a pen. So let's get started. First things first is, what is a contract? So I prepared to you 5 types of contracts in order to understand this, and I will stop to the last 2. The first one is the simple contract. So it's what you do when you go and buy a bottle of water, what you do when you came here and bought the ticket for the conference. It's things that you do every day and you don't know that there are contracts, but I assure you that they are. Then we have the electronic contracts. The electronic contracts are simple contracts but concluded in digital form. You know, the ones that you e-sign at the end of the paper with your electronic signature. Then we have the contracts which require certain formalities. And I refer here as contracts that something needs to be done in order for that contract to be concluded. And I refer here at lending money, for instance. In Romania and in the whole Europe, lending money is not a contract that is concluded until you effectively lend that money. So that's the formality, giving. Then we have the smart contracts, the one with no rules, based on blockchain, where you, I think that you're familiar with them, so I will not talk about them as much. And the authentic and notarial contracts, these two are the categories which interest us, because all these 3 categories can be smart contracts. These authentic and notarial contracts cannot be smart contracts. And here is where the stakes are, and I will get to that eventually. I want to talk about now the legal recognition between these two types of contracts. The legal contracts are enforced under laws. It's very simple. If you want, for instance, to sell something in Romania, you go to the civil code. Is there an article? There are 100 articles that says you what you have to do in order to sell something. If you want to conclude the smart contracts, the things are not as clear. And I think that for smart contracts, we have to see some different parts of the world and how they interpret this thing. For instance, the US legislation, we have Arizona and Tennessee that since 2017, they started to acknowledge blockchain signing and blockchain activities. Then we have Illinois, which from 2020 recognized smart contracts in every area of the law. Then I think that then we have a very important UK legislation. The UK Law Committee ruled like 3 months ago that in UK you don't need any more legislation in order to conclude smart contracts. So the legislation in the United Kingdom allows smart contracts as it is now. Then we have the Asia-Pacific zone, where we have Singapore, who allows smart contracts with a very good law. Then we have China, who does not allow, as you probably know, does not allow cryptocurrency, but they allow blockchain. So a lot of their systems in China are based on blockchain. And then we have Europe, which is our main topic, where the things are not as well ruled as in other parts. We have these two, I think that you all know MiCA and EIDAS2, which offer more security for our identity online, for our cryptocurrency, but we don't have anything to rule the smart contracts. So for us to be possible to see how these things take place in Europe, we have to go forward and to understand the authenticity legal concept. What makes a contract authentic? And the thing, or the person that does a contract authentic, is the notary public. So when you want to, in Romania or in any other civil law countries, when you want to go and conclude a more important contract, like selling real estate, you have to go to the notary public, who does three things. He identifies the signatory parties. You go with your ID, and the notary public says that the person in the ID who came here is the person in the contract. Then the notary analyzes their ability to complete the act, and I refer here at their civil capacity, that they have the right age and stuff like that, and some other stuff. For instance, if you want to sell something, you go to the public notary, who says that you are the owner, you can sell that building. And these contracts are very important because they are mandatory in these fields. So now knowing what, and the third thing is the consent to conclusion date act. The notary public says that you are not threatened or you are not scared when concluding that act, and you can do that. So knowing this and having this in mind, I want to make a comparison to see if the smart contracts can replace the authentic contracts, and what is the stake for that. First of all, if this would happen, it will be more comfortable, sure, because you can do that from your own living room will You don't have to go to the notary public with a lot of paperwork. Then it will be more secure and more transparent because it will be uploaded in the blockchain, and it will be much more safe. It will be an advantage for traceability, because when you go to sell, for instance, real estate or land, you have to go with all the paperwork from all the previous owners. If this was on blockchain, it will be there, easily accessible. And the main goal and the main stake here is the financial benefits, because you have to know that the notarial fees are extremely high in Europe. And I saw a study just in Romania. So, in Romania, per day, are made 600 of these contracts. The fees approximately are 7,500 lei. This means 4.5 million lei per day in notarial fees in Romania. This means 254 million euros per year in Romania in notarial fees. So if these smart contracts would be able to replace the authentic contracts, my friends, you have a 1 billion euros industry in 4 years. Now, there are some limitations. That's why we are not here. That's why the smart contracts are not used for this. So the first one are the terms of the authenticity, the things that I told you that the public notary does. It's to identify the parties. On blockchain, it will be much more difficult to identify the parties because there will be just some usernames there and you don't know the real identity. The ability to complete the act, you don't know, for instance, if the one who sells the building is not threatened with a gun or something to conclude that business. And the consent of the party, it will be as well, I don't know, not that sure. Then there are some immutability risks. There are bugs, there are hackers or some unforeseen events that may occur, and that makes this not that sure. Then we have the limited flexibility, because once it's uploaded to the blockchain, you all know it's very hard to be edited or to be undone, or roughly impossible. Then we have some legal ambiguity, because we don't know the legal jurisdiction. We don't know what law applied, the territoriality of that law. Because you have to know that in Romania, the law says that if you sell real estate, the applicable law is the law of where the building is. In other countries, they says that the applying law is the law of the buyer of the law or the law of the seller. And because this will happen internationally, probably, it will be very, very hard for this to be done. Another thing is that you have to know that in Romania, citizens that are outside of the European Union or the European space of commerce are not allowed to buy land in our country. So it will be very hard to limit that. So there has to be done a lot of change in the law in order to do this. Then it will be very hard to conclude who is the beneficiary, who is the new owner of that thing that you bought, because there are some cadastral rules you have to go, and every property has to be owned by someone. It could not be owned by a username, it has to be owned by a real person. But these things may threaten you, but I prepared some real-world examples that occur today. So, in music and intellectual property, we have a lot of platforms that use smart contracts. Then we have the finance, where we have a lot of rules that allows us and decentralize the law, now the loans and other stuff. Then we have in the supply chain, we have in Australia a very big company called DataHash that manages all the paperwork for all the supply chain through blockchain. Then we come to our examples, real estate. We have a very interesting startup in the United States called Propi, who managed to sell as NFTs a property in Kiev. But you have to know that this was a hybrid thing. So the blockchain, all the blockchain was used just to get the supply and demand, and then all the other stuff was done in the traditional way with paperwork, with notaries and stuff like that. But we have all the land records and real estate which are very interested in these two countries, in the United Arab Emirates and in Georgia. Why? Because the United Arab Emirates and all the Dubai land department is based on blockchain. So if you buy a piece of land, or if you buy a property or real estate in Dubai, you go and file all your papers to be considered the owner, and the blockchain does all that. In Georgia as well, they use blockchain for all of their cadastral agency, for issuing the certificates. So, real estate is in somehow sold based on blockchain now. But this brings us to the whole point. Will there ever be authenticity without a pen? And now, to answer you this, I have to give you a very lawyerish term, very annoying term, which is maybe. I don't know. There are a lot of steps going through that. There are a lot of things that the artificial intelligence and blockchain is doing now. And all the signs are that we are going there. I told you that this has a very, very good and big financial stake here, because there are the European Parliament published that the notarial taxes per day paid in Europe are roughly 1 billion euros. So it's huge, and everybody wants to do this. But we have to change a lot of laws in order to do this, and we have to make a very unitary space to do this, because that's what the European Union wants to do. But the question is if the European Union is big enough in order to do this. Because we buy and sell land everywhere in the world. We don't buy and sell land only in Europe. And that's the key, and that's the question. So will there ever be authenticity without a ban? Yes, probably. Will there ever be unitary law for the whole world to do this? I don't know, and that's the key. When all the international organisms will align, yes, we will have authenticity without a ban. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mihai. Okay, so question from me. I thought that stat around 243 million, especially in Romania, spent on notarial fees. That was really, really interesting. Let's talk timelines here. So obviously, like, you know, your answer was maybe, and the probability of how far we'll progress along this line, no one's really sure. But how close do you think we are to Romania being able to, you know, erode some of those fees and get across the smart contracts in these processes?
Romania is not that close now, but the European Union is close. And if the European Union will rule this, Romania will be obliged to do this as well. And that's the thing, that the new guys that are in charge of the European Union, I see that they are very inclined to blockchain and to artificial intelligence. And I think that maybe if we keep in mind that this has been done, I think that we can talk about like 3, 4, maybe 5 years until we can do that, because that's the future. Everybody sees it, but we just need to put our law in order for this to happen. So I cannot give you an honest answer, but I don't see how in 5 years from now this will not happen.
Okay, makes sense. And you mentioned a few different industries there where smart contracts would be especially useful, or perhaps even kind of closer to being used already. A few of them you mentioned: music, real estate, etc. Let's say the regulatory landscape gets more progressive. Which do you think are the first industries that will pounce upon something like this? Is it real estate, or is it somewhere else?
Real estate is the hardest. That's what I said. It's the hardest industry to do this. So yes, other industries will do this first, but in my opinion, the real estate is the highest stake, because there are involved there are more money there. So no, I don't think that real estate will be the first one, but I will think that it will be the holy grail of smart contracts.
Okay, and are there any other questions from the crowd? Doesn't look like it. I've got one more from my side.
Okay.
Sorry, you do?
No.
Just one more. Do you think that, the development of the law on chain will be led more by the lawyers or more by the developers?
I think that the law on chain will be something that it has to be somewhere in the middle, because the developers don't know the law as well as the lawyers, and don't know how to apply that law, but the lawyers don't know how to program the code. So I think that it has to be some sort of a merger there in order to provide what the needs are. So I don't think that neither of them will make this. I think that the laws will be made by the organisms that make the laws now, but the developers need to get in touch in order to put that in mind, because another very important thing that I saw is that nobody knows in the law industry or knows very little to how the blockchain and how artificial intelligence works. And we can do a lot of things with them, but we don't know that we can do them. So I think that these two worlds have to meet and have to get close to one another as soon as possible, because we are at the start of this in the law system. And I repeat, the stakes are very high for the first ones to do that.
Sure. So basically, both worlds working hand in hand.
Yes, that's the thing that I think.
Okay, nice. Any final questions? Doesn't look like it. Well, thank you so much, Mihai.
Thank you very much.
Fascinating topic, presented so well.
Thank you
very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much.